Homage to the lineage gurus. Homage to the Venerable Monk Liao Ming. Homage to Master Sakya Tseng Kung. Homage to the 16th Dharma King Karmapa. And homage to Master Tupten Tarji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. And homage to the main deity of Homa today, the Vajrapani Bodhisattva. All Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma instructors, Dharma assistants, all disciples present here and over the internet, and our participating VIPs today is the wife of the Taiwan's representatives to Sweden, Dharma Sister Judy, the accountant to the Buddha Foundation, Dharma Sister Teresa and her husband, and the Sunny Line Dance members, Miss Li Yixuan, Miss Cai Meiyue, Dharma Brother Lai Liang, CTI TV Taiwan, producers for Geni Diansang Sinton, Miss Rebecca Shiachi, and Dr. Gao. So good afternoon, everybody. How do you do? Today is the first time we had Homa at the Rainbow Temple in America and performing the Vajrapani Bodhisattva Homa, but three main reliant deities all descended. Lokeswara, Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, Manjushri Bodhisattva, and Vajrapani Bodhisattva. So these three deities in Tibetan Buddhism are referred as the three main reliances, which mean they represent their Dharma power and capabilities. Like Lokeswara, Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, represents compassion. So he's considered as the most important deity in the compassion school. And Manjushri Bodhisattva represents the most important deity in the wisdom Dharma gate, and Vajrapani Bodhisattva represents the most important deity in the protection Dharma gate. Sometimes it's referred as the Vajrapani Bodhisattva or the Vajra hand or hand Vajra, or Dorje hand or hand Dorje. Dorje in Tibetan or Vajra in Sanskrit. And they're all the same names. And the mantra we often recite in the past for armor protection. And in armor protection, we invoke Vajrapani Bodhisattva. So that's why, in my opinion, that I had transmitted the Vajrapani Dharma practice. Because every day when we perform the armor protection, Om Bodhilanjali. So actually the Vajrapani, Vajra hand is Pani. So the mantra Om Beja Poni Be Hom Be Om Beja Poni Hom Be is also about pony. The mantra for Vajrapani. Om. So you can recite Om Beja Poni Hom Be or Om Beja Pani Hom Be. It's okay either way, because like for the Cantonese, their pronunciations for Chinese are not correct because they have their own Cantonese dialect, and for the Taiwanese they also have Taiwanese dialect. So that's why the pronunciation may not be accurate with respect to Tibetans, but the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas would understand. It doesn't matter how you pronounce it, it's fine. As long as in your heart you have Vajrapani Bodhisattva in your heart. One of his hands is holding a Vajra scepter, which is the wrathful fist mudra. One is holding a Vajra scepter and the other one is holding a Vajra lasso or empty-handed, just forming the mudra. So that's how he looks. And he's blue. His body is blue. And he's amidst the blazing fire. So the Homa today had a very auspicious sign. That's very rare. It's very rare to see it. That during Homa there was an auspicious sign appearing, and this time we had. So the primary supplicants and the participants here will receive the everlasting protection from Vajrapani Bodhisattva. And all you pray for will be accomplished. So, for myself, when I was performing the mudra transformations, when I was performing Homa, I would see a lot of auspicious or the inauspicious or half auspicious and half inauspicious. But today, in the Homa fire, all I saw was auspicious signs. And this is very rare, because usually it's a mixture. So in Seattle Rainbow Temple, to see such a good auspicious signs And this is the first time to see such wonderful auspicious signs after so many homas at this rainbow temple. So that's really very special. So I hope what you pray for today here would be granted, that you would be endowed with great health and your karma be eradicated, and you would improve your good fortunes and wisdom, and may all be perfect. So Vajrapani Bodhisattva has a blue body with one head and two arms, and the right hand is forming the wrathful fist mudra and raised high up, and the left hand is in front of his chest, also in the wrathful fist mudra, holding a vajralasso or empty-handed. And he's adorned with jewel, snakes, and tiger skin skirt. So his right leg is bent and left leg extended, and he is abiding in the bright prajna light. And in the Vajrayana scriptures, Vajrapani is Vairocana entering into the samadhi of Samantabhadra in the diamond mandala that emerged from the great sphere of moonlight. So the moonlight is the perfect bodhicitta seal. So Vajrapani encompasses two deities. So Vairocana entering into the samadhi of Samantabhadra. So Samantabhadra Bodhisattva and Vairocana and Vajrasattva also represents the Dharma prince of the five Jnani Buddhas in Tantrayana. So this is the merging of Vajrasattva and Vairocana. So he's also a Dharma prince of the Tathagata. Like Kuan Yin Lokaswara Bodhisattva, he is a Dharma prince of the lotus division of the three sages from the West. And Manjushri Bodhisattva is also a Dharma prince from the Avatamsaka realm. And Vajrapani Bodhisattva, he's also the body heart of all bodhisattvas, and also the Vajra holder, the Lord of Secrets, is also a Dharma prince representing Dharma power. So today is really a good day. And in Tantrayana, we often refer to the three deities: Vajrahan Bodhisattva, Vajrahat Bodhisattva, and Vajrasattva. And these are the three greatest bodhisattvas in Tantrayana. And the three deities combined is Vajrasattva. So Vajraheart, Vajrahan, and Vajrasattva are actually one deity. They emanated from the one deity. So it really is extraordinary that we have three main reliances deities descended today. the mantra. Om Bejapani. That's the true words. The armor protection Dharma, Om Borulanjali, was transmitted by Master Pufang. So that's the mantra for Vajrapani's protection. And Om Bejapani Hombe is the heart mantra of Vajrapani. And you can recite either or both of these mantras. So in performing Vajrapani Bodhisattva is really auspicious. And this is our first Homa here this year. And the mudra, you can first form the general mudra for all Buddha mothers, and then you extend both pinkies. So we form this mudra for Golden Mother, and then you extend the two pinkies. That would become the mudra for Vajrapani Bodhisattva. So with his look, mudra, and mantra, then that would be very good. This represents the purity of the body, speech, and mind. Then, of course, this would comprise the deity yoga practice. So today we will continue to expound on Lamdre. First, let me talk about the meaning of Lamdre. That Lamdre is the most profound, deep, and broad teaching of the Sakya school of Tibetan Tantrayana. As we all know, that the Sakya sect there was a clan in Tibet that's called the Kunsu. So it came from this clan, and there are two Dharma kings from this clan. The first one is in India, and he is His Holiness Sakya Trizin. And the second Dharma king for the Sakya clan is in Seattle. And he's Dakchin, Dharma king, who had just left the world recently. And the guru that I took refuge in from the Sakya sect, I called him as Master Sakya Chen Kong, which is also referred as the Zhong Rinpoche. And we enshrine his statues at the Taiwan Lichang Temple for the four of my lineage root gurus. One is the Venerable Mang Liao Ming, representing the Nyingma Pa or Nyingma sect, and having the lineage from Master Nona, and then the other one is Master Sakya Zengkong or Dzong Rinpoche, which was the guru I met at Green Lake. Dzong Rinpoche, who loved to recite mantra very loudly, even on the bus. So on the train, on the plane, and he would recite the mantras. He loved to recite mantras. So at the Green Lake, which is from my home in Ballard, I went to Green Lake and I met Master Sakya Zengkong. And he looked very dignified. I paid homage to him. He spoke in Tibetan and he could understand a little bit of Chinese. And he also spoke English, so he mastered 3 different languages. So he also taught me Hevajra and Lamdre. He transmitted Hevajra to me. So that's why I wrote a book on Hevajra. And I expounded on Hevajra for the longest time. I was in Ballard for 3 years, and he was too, living at the Sakya temple at the place of His Holiness Dharma King Dakjen. So the niece of Dzong Rinpoche married to Dakjen. And in Green Lake, there was a Fred Meyer, and across from Fred Meyer, there's this Sakya temple. So I listened to him and about the teachings from the Sakya sect. And I went to Green Lake and I swam there. And we walk around the lake. And that was also the Qinghai Wusang Si was over there. So this is also a lineage for Grandmaster too. So I have the greatest black pill and 2 medium black pills from the Sakya school. And this time it would be, they were considered as the lineage precious items for the auction item for the ceremony, upcoming ceremony in August. So in the Sakya school, there are 2 palaces, and the palace in Seattle is called the Palace of Perfection, and then the other palace in India is called the Tara, the Palace of Tara, and here is called the Palace of Perfection. So this is the teaching from the Sakya school that is the most deep, profound, and broad. And how to practice from the mundane being to Buddhahood. So that's also called the Mahamudra in the Kagyupa and called Dokchen or Great Perfection Dharma in Nyingmapa and Yamantaka in Gelugpa and Lamdre in Sakyapa. So from the coarse mundane being practicing to the perfect realms of the four fruitions, which is Buddhahood, they are encompassed in Lamdre. So we now know the importance of Lamdre. And inside it, there are the development stages for spiritual cultivations, for step by step, with the concept, theory, with the Dharma tastes and experiences. So the Hevajra exposition that Grandmaster wrote includes about the personal experiences of Hevajra practice. And Lamdre also includes Hevajra, also includes the development stages of Hevajra Dharma practices, and also includes not just Hevajra, and also the highest, the Mahayana secret practices. So there's the most important pith instructions for both worldly and out of worldly practices. So this is also the most clear and structured Dharma teachings of Mahamudra. So Lamdre meaning the path and the results or the attainments of the practice. So that's all the explanation for today. The explanation of Lamdre for today. Let me share a joke. So the wife told to the husband, you know, I've joined a cooking class, so you cannot berate my cooking anymore in the future. And the husband asked, so are you learning the Western food or Chinese food? And the wife replied, karate. So she wasn't learning how to cook because the husband complained how bad her cookings were. So she learned karate so that he wouldn't dare to complain anymore. So that may work, however. Yes. Karate, the T in Chinese is also sound like the way. So it doesn't matter which way you learn, you need to have attainments. Then your Buddha Dharma would be very supreme. So please pay attention that Hevajra exposition is the Dharma transmission that I taught for the longest time, and it is related to Lamdre. And another Dharma or Tantra that I taught for a very long time is Kala Chakra. So actually, not very many people transmit the Tantra for Kala Chakra and Hevajra. Everybody knows about Kala Chakra, but people who elucidate clearly about them is Sang Yen Lu. Who explain it very clearly, and they are already explained very clearly, and sometimes they're not even covered in Lamdre, but I did elucidate it clearly, so it's the most clear. So when I expounded Kala Chakra and Hevajra very clearly, even more clearly than the Rinpoches from Tibetan Buddhism, because they have to transmit Kala Chakra for a very long time, like 2 weeks, and they have to prepare ahead of time for months. And I also went to all over the world to transmit Kala Chakra Tantra. If you collect them all, you would be able to see the channels and of Kala Chakra and also Hevajra. So Lamdre is also the path and the result. So it's from the mundane being all the way to being a Buddha. This is a joke about the sound of wind. At 10, you're naive and innocent. At 20, you're becoming excellent. This is also play of words of the Chinese character Feng. At 30s, you're the most beautiful. At 40, you're at the prime time. And at 50, this is play of words of Chinese. So that's a human life. This is all the stages at different age. So in our Buddhist studies, we start from the basics to the most profound. Doesn't matter how long. Think about it. How long has the Tantrayana been? At the time of Guru Padmasambhava, at the time of Sakyamuni Buddha, Tantric Buddhism had existed since then. That in the South India, the auspicious Mixing Pagoda, he transformed to become Kala Chakra. At the auspicious Mixing Pagoda, transmitted to Shambhala, to the King Yeshe of Shambhala. So at the time of Sakyamuni Buddha, there's already Tantric Buddhism. that Tantrayana started in Kashmir at the northern part of India. And the Indians there are rather fair. And then at the central part of India or the southern part, they are rather dark, but the northern Indians are rather fair. That's because of geomancy. People from the north are rather fair and people from the south are rather dark. So it's interesting that the northern part, the northern people are white and the southern people are black and the middle part are yellow. And the northern hemisphere has are wiser and the southern hemisphere are less. And the northern hemisphere are colder, the southern hemisphere are hotter. So going back to Taiwan is like going south. The Southeast Asia, the countries there, knowing that I return to Taiwan, they all would come. And there would be tens of thousands of people coming to Taiwan from Southeast Asia, listening to my Dharma teaching. Because the South is rather hot, so they're more passionate. And the North is rather cold. Last night, in giving Dharma teaching, that look, is there anyone from the temples and chapters from Canada that fly in? Yesterday was the first time I give Dharma teaching, and today is the second time. But look, in America, is there anyone from other temples and chapters from Canada and America that would hurry to come here listening to my Dharma teaching? And moreover, from Europe, is there anyone coming to Seattle to listen to my Dharma teaching? No one. But as soon as I get to Taiwan, there would be tens of thousands of people, at least, in the least, 10,000 people for each of the Dharma teaching, sometimes 20,000, 30,000 people. And for the Freedom Square in Taipei, there were 50 to 70,000 people attending and listening to the Dharma teaching. But coming back to Seattle, America, but good thing we still have some people from Southeast Asia here and some other countries. But it's less because, you know, those living in the north are rather cold and those living in the south are rather open. Don't you think so? But the people in the north are rather cultured or civilized, but people from the south are rather uncivilized. That's how the earth is being divided. So upon Grandmaster's return to Seattle, and for the first time giving Dharma teaching, but see how many people coming from Canada. Very cold. And look at the representatives from the temples and chapters from America or Canada. Doesn't matter whether it's the first time or the last time, they don't come. This is the Guru teaching, and they come whenever they like. Like those from New York. They are inviting me to go to New York for ceremonies there. But when I came here, when I returned to Seattle, I didn't see people from New York City. And then the first time I gave Dharma teaching in Seattle, they didn't come. And then the first Homa at the Rainbow Temple, which is very auspicious, and they haven't even received the empowerment. They are not even here. So why would I want to go to New York City? They don't even come here. So how many temples and chapters and centers on the East Coast? North Carolina, New Jersey, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia. But you don't represent the temples or chapters or centers. Like some from Washington, D.C. invited me to consecrate the new temple there. And Guangzhou Lichang Temple from New Jersey also invited me to go there too. And Lien Yen Temple in Philadelphia also invited me. And the Vajra Diamond Temple also invited me to go. And all the chapters in New York area, like Florida, in the east. But you don't come for my Dharma teachings, so why would I want to go? For what? Right? So that's why it's rather cold for America and Canada. But Vancouver is not bad. It is rather close. But actually it's not so close. It'll take them 3 hours to drive. By the time they get home, it's almost dawn if you leave rather late. How about Chicago or California? They're far and few in between, but most other people don't come. So that's why it's better that I go back to Taiwan. You asked me to live permanently in Seattle, and all I see is the same old faces. But in Taiwan, there are so many people. So if you go to Taiwan, it's, I'm this small on the stage. But in Seattle, you can touch each other. So this is just idle chat. But Lamdre is very important. And this is an important teaching, but you think, oh, who cares? Lamdre, the highest dharma of the Sakya sect. And they think that earning a living is more important. So the stomach is more important than anything else. So it's not easy to earn a living in the Western countries. And some people don't do well. For them to get on the plane may be hard. But people from Southeast Asia are more warm-hearted, and people from the north are colder. That's how it is. Those from the north are rather, the skin are rather fair, and people from the south are rather dark skinned. And one more point. When the north attacks the south, the north would always win. Why? Because they're wiser and more civilized, they're more skilled. So their weapons and planes are better. So look at the North Vietnam attacking the South Vietnam. The South Vietnam lost. And the North Korea attacking the South Korea. If the North Korea send a nuclear weapon, the South Korea would be scared to death. So for the Korean War, the South Korea did not win over the North Korea. And look at China. Whenever the North attacks the South would lose. And also in America, during the Civil War, the North won. Still the North won and the South lost. That's how wars are like. Because you stand at an advantageous position, so you would win. And China, when the Peking, which is the northern capital, attacks Nanjing, which is the southern capital, well, of course, the North would win, and Kuomintang, the KMT party, had to flee to Taiwan. That's also idle chat. Oh, let's continue a little more on Lamdre. It said that the path, there's vertical and horizontal. That in spiritual cultivation, that broad, central, or essence, and in the center there's also the deep, the shallow, medium, and deep, and it includes 4 kinds of empowerments. I often said that the first kind is the vase empowerment, or abhiseka, which is what we offer perform. It's empowerments or abhiseka for deities, for the deity yoga, from refuge initiation, the 4 preliminary practices, the root guru yoga, and all the deity yogas are considered as the vase abhiseka. And the second one is the inner empowerment, or the secret empowerment, or secret abhiseka, for the practices of the chi, vital energy, channels, and light drops. And the third empowerment is called the wisdom empowerment abhiseka, which is for the highest yoga tantra, or anuttara yoga. And the highest empowerment is the empowerments for the great perfection, Mahamudra or Lamdre. So those are the highest kind of empowerment. So altogether 4 empowerments. And there's also the 5th way, and in Mahayana it's called the 37 Bodhi divisions. including the 13 grounds. And what are they? It's starting from the beginning, Bodhisattva, the 10th ground, and Buddha, 11th ground, and Vairocana Buddha, the 13th ground. So Dharma for all this, including all this, they're all included in the path. Tao, path, or the way. So let me share a joke. The teacher asked the class, "Can you see gods?" And the students replied, "No." And the teacher asked, "Can you touch gods?" And all the students replied, "No." And the teacher said, "That means that there are no gods." And at this time, Xiaoming raised his hand and said, "Can you see your brain?" And the teacher replied, "No." And "Can you touch your brain?" And the teacher said, "No." So Xiaoming said, "That means you have no brain." And the teacher replied, "Get out of here." So all the Dharma teachings that are taught now not necessarily can be seen, but you can hear it when Grandmaster talks about it. And if you experience it, then that would be your insight and the key formulas. And they are very, very important. And the path includes the 4 levels of empowerments, the 5 paths or the 6 paths, the 13 grounds, and the 37 body divisions. And in Tantrayana, it's called the 37 body branches. And all the Dharma are included in this path. That's all the talk for today. Om Mani Padme Hum.